Welcome to Tadaran End User Training. My name is John McAnulty, Tadaran's Global Technical Training Manager. In this video, I will present 3 methods for recording Aeonix Auto Attendant prompts. The goal of this presentation is to illustrate by example how to record Aeonix Auto Attendant prompts. The Aeonix has multiple methods for recording Auto Attendant prompts. The customers may use any or all of the methods described in this presentation. The 3 methods we're going to illustrate are recording by phone, importing an existing WAV or MP3 file, and finally creating the recording with Amazon Poly, then taking the resulting file and importing it into the Aeonix. In our example, we are recording an auto attendant prompt for customer Stratus Inc. The prompt will state, "Thank you for calling Stratus Inc. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. To reach our sales department, dial 1. To reach our support department, dial 2. To reach our receptionist, dial 0. We're going to start with recording by phone. To do it, we need to set up an auto attendant. Here we set up an auto attendant with an alias of 8010, and we simply point it to the script that is record the audio prompt in English. And we'll save that. And now I can just, from any phone in my system, I can dial 8010, and the different prompts we can record are from 0 through 9. And you can even do more than that, but typically that's enough. So let's go ahead and record prompt 0, and after that's done, we'll apply it to the auto attendant. So I've opened up my Aeonix Touch. I'm going to go to my dial pad, and I'm going to dial 8010, which is the auto attendant alias prefix that we created.
Please enter the message number to record. Press the hash or pound key when done.
So since we haven't recorded any of the prompts, I'm going to start with the first one, which is 0, and then hit pound.
Please record the message after the tone. To stop recording, press any key.
Thank you for calling Stratus Inc. If you know your party's extension number, you may dial it at any time. To reach our sales department, dial 1. To reach our support department, dial 2. To reach our receptionist, dial 0.
The message was recorded. To review the message again, press 1.
So I'll press
To
1 to
delete and
review it.
re-record the message.
Thank you for calling Stratus Inc. If you know your party's extension number, you may dial it at any time. To reach our sales department, dial 1. To reach our support department, dial 2. To reach our receptionist, dial 0.
To review the message again,
Okay,
press
so
1.
I'm satisfied with that
To
message.
delete
I'm going to
and-
hang up. So now that prompt has been recorded, we're going to go into our script designer. And of course, this might be something that is handled by your partner that manages your phone system. We would go to the main menu, and here we can see that the audio file that's used for the main menu is named main right now. That's just the default that we have in, but we're going to go ahead and apply the recording that we just did. And to do that, we'll click on the ellipsis, and there we can see that main is the selected audio file, and on the right side are all the different audio files that are in the auto attendant. And in our case, we're going to find the one that we just recorded, which is the phone record by 0. And you can see that we can do many different recordings. But here we're going to select the record by phone 0, and I'm going to remove the default audio file of main. Okay, so now this record by phone 0 will be the prompt that's used in our auto attendant. And it's as simple as that. If I want to change the recording, I could just go to my phone, dial 8010 again, select the prompt number, in this case it's 0, and I could record over it, or I could select any of the other prompts if I want to make a new recording. So that is method number 1. Next, we're going to demonstrate how to load a pre-existing audio file. The customer has created an audio file that they want to have loaded as their prompt, and this file can be a MP3 file or a WAV file. To import the file into the Auto Attendant, we would go into the Script Designer and we would select the option to upload the audio file. Then we'll simply choose the file, which is on my laptop. And in this case, it's a professionally recorded prompt named AAA Stratus Inc. main menu prompt, and it's an MP3 file. So I select that, I click Open, and then I select Upload. Okay, and then I just OK that. So now that file should be in my list of audio files. So if I go back to my main menu object, I can see that the current Auto Attendant prompt is record by phone, which we just did in our previous example. But instead, we're going to replace that with the professional recording that we just imported. So once again, I'll click on the ellipsis button, and I can see that the record by phone 0 is the current selected audio file. But let's find the one that we just imported. So I'm going to scroll down in the list, and it's alphabetical. And I should see that file in there, and there it is. I'm just going to slide that over to the left side, and I'm going to remove the record by phone 0 audio file just by sliding it back to the right. And I'm going to OK this. So now the audio file that will be used for my main menu Auto Attendant prompt is the one I just imported, the AAA Stratus Inc. main menu prompt. So that was method number 2. The third method is using Amazon Polly, which is a utility offered by Amazon Web Services. And it's very simple. You can go into that service, type in the prompt that you want, and it'll automatically create an audio file for you. Then you download that audio file, and then just bring it in to the Auto Attendant like we just did, and that will then be your new Auto Attendant prompt. For information on using the Amazon AWS Polly application, you can reference this application note. And the main things I wanted to point out on this application note is that we are using the English language. Application is Amazon AWS Polly. The engine is neural. The language is English. The gender is female, and the voice is Joanna. So that is what we're using for our default prompts. So it's a good idea to continue with that. So to use the Amazon AWS, you must first create an account with AWS, and then after creating the account, search for the application Polly. Okay, and here we can see a screenshot of that where we selected the engine, the language, the voice, and the text was typed in. Then you can simply click on listen, make sure it sounds the way you want it to sound, and then you can just click on download, and that'll download an MP3 file. So let's go ahead and do that for our example. To connect to Amazon AWS Polly, I open up my browser, and I will paste in the URL that I successfully used previously to connect up. You could always Google Amazon AWS Polly to get to a similar spot. And now it's opened up. Now, of course, I had to log in with my credentials, which I did a couple of minutes ago, so it still remembers that, but you will need to set up an account with Amazon AWS. And I am not charged for this, so there shouldn't be any cost. And I'm going to choose the proper engine. Okay, and I'm going to choose the language, English in this case. Of course, it supports many other languages. And then the voice I'm going to use, I'm going to match it up to the default prompts we're using already, which is using female Joanna. And then the next thing is I just need to simply copy and paste the prompt text in, and it will then render it to the settings that I have and selected. And of course you can listen to it before you download it so you can get it just right, because you might, if you forgot to put a comma or a period in there, it may run on between sentences, so you do want to make sure you do that so there is a slight pause between your sentences. But let's go ahead and listen to it.
Thank you for calling Stratus Incorporated. If you know your party's extension number, you may dial it at any time. To reach our sales department, dial 1. To reach our support department, dial 2. To reach our receptionist, dial 0.
So I think that sounds very good. So I'm going to go ahead and download that, and it will download an MP3 file. And I'm going to go ahead and show that in the folder. And maybe I want to rename it just so it makes more sense than the name that was assigned. So I'll name it Stratus Inc. AA Prompt. Whatever makes sense to you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and import this into our script designer. So we'll go back to our script designer. We'll click on the main menu object. The audio file that's in there right now is the one from the previous example. Now, before we can use our new audio file, we need to import it. So I'm going to click on the upload audio file, choose the file, which is the Stratus Inc. AA Prompt MP3. I'm going to open it and upload it. And now this will be part of our available audio files. So if I go down to the audio file, we can see it has the audio file from our last example. We're going to change that. I'm going to click on the ellipsis. I'm going to drag this one over to the right, and then I'm going to scroll down. And there's the new one we made with Amazon AWS Poly. I'm going to drag it to the left. I'm going to OK it. So now that will be the prompt that's used. Let's go ahead and save the script. And if we want to test it, and we should test it of course, let's dial 8000, which goes to our Stratus Inc. Auto Attendant, and we should hear that new prompt in there. So once again, I'm going to launch my touch. I'm going to dial 8000, which is the alias for the audio attendant.
Thank you for calling Stratus Incorporated. If you know your party's extension number, you may dial it at any time. To reach our sales department, dial 1. To reach our support department, dial 2. To reach our receptionist, dial 0.
Okay, so that is successfully configured. And that ends our user training demonstrating 3 different methods for recording and configuring auto attendant prompts in the Aeonix. Thank you very much for attending.